So, like me, you may have been raised by a single mother and started out in life lacking direction on what being a man means. But nowadays, the garbage that is the modern agenda against masculinity has been trying and largely succeeding in corrupting the minds of young men. We're being told that we're toxic, unimportant, and that we're not needed by our family and by society in general. That women can just do it all themselves, and we should just shut up and pay our dues for the privileges that our male ancestors enjoyed during the patriarchy days. We're told to be overly emotional and cry in front of our women, despite the forums being filled with stories of men who did just that and their partner left or cheated on them. We're told that we should cheer for the drag queens twerking in front of our children in schools, and that we should indulge in short-term pleasure through porn, junk food, and video games. You've had an upbringing without a father by your side, the same way as I did, and you've been trying to find your feet in the world as a young man, but all this bullshit has just left you more hopeless and confused. I'm here to tell you that doesn't have to be like that. And we're going to run through a few steps that you can start taking to turn yourself into the man that you need to be to navigate this modern world. The first and most important step is to start taking ownership. Being raised by a single mother, you're likely more of a feminine man, and therefore you lack certain traits and skills that a man should have to achieve the things that he wants. You want the lifestyle, the women, the physique. But chances are, by following modern advice, you've been going away from those things. And you know the dark reality? Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about you or about me. Nobody's going to knock on our door and push us to evolve in life. So we need to take freedom from that because it means it's in our power to get ourselves out of our situations. So the first step is to have a change of mindset, to internalize the things that are going on in your life and consider them in your control. That's the start of your power. The second thing is you need to realize that protecting and providing will always be virtues. Now, the modern media has conditioned us to believe that our traditional value add to the family as men, i.e., being the protectors and the main breadwinner of the family, are no longer important or valued, especially now with women being more financially self-sufficient than ever. Don't get me wrong, I think it's great that women are able to financially provide for themselves and not run the risk of the man leaving and therefore their livelihood being destroyed. But it's definitely left a lot of men with this purpose void. What you need to understand is that while the traits of protecting and providing might be less vital than in the past, they're still very attractive in a man. You see, biology doesn't change as quickly as social trends, and a woman will instinctively find that very alluring if you are financially successful, if you are strong mentally and physically and can protect her and the family. It will always allow you to access a higher quality woman if you have those traits. So how do you take steps to become that man? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to start building your skills. So look at the existing skill set that you have and think about how you can combine them to generate a source of income and what other skills you need to be able to amplify your earnings. Take a class, read a book, go to a course, invest in your education first and foremost as a young man. And when I say education, I'm not talking about getting a master's degree or doing a PhD. I'm talking about real education used by real entrepreneurs to make money right now. Whether that's coding, sales, marketing. I myself am learning content creation by doing these YouTube videos. Find a skill that attracts you and go hard at it. The third thing is to become physical. You have no excuse for sitting there overweight with a beer belly or being skinny fat. If that's you, then I want you to know that you're a fucking disgrace to all of manhood. If that's made you feel uncomfortable and insecure, then just click off the video. But if you are that guy and something lit up in you saying, fuck, that's me, but I'm done being like this, I want to change, then keep watching. Now, some guys might say, yeah, but I'm just not focused on exercise right now. I've got other priorities. Okay, fine. Are you a millionaire? Have you retired your family? Because if you have, then fair enough. But chances are you're still pretty broke on top of being out of shape. Maybe you've been experiencing what I experienced with my mother when I started going to the gym. She would always tell me to not go anymore because you'd be bad for my growth and you would ruin my spine and to not lift too heavy. So if you face resistance in that regard, then I fully understand you. But I had to go despite her advice. And you also have to do the same. You have to learn to overstep your mother if she is getting in the way of your goals. If you're currently not exercising, then I would say pursue any form of exercise, but I really recommend weightlifting because it will just change your internal wiring, the way you perceive yourself. It will boost your self-esteem and it will just make social situations much easier with both men and women. The guys will respect you more without you having to do anything, and women will be more attracted to you if you build an aesthetic body, of course. I also highly, highly recommend that you learn to fight. Don't take the whole trend of I'm a lover, not a fighter as an excuse to be useless and not be able to protect yourself and your loved ones. Just like me, you've probably had too much exposure to your mother's feminine energy and you've been conditioned to always seek harmony in situations and to avoid conflict because that's bad. And of course, I'm not saying learn to fight and become an aggressor. That's out of order. We use our power for good. But as Jordan Peterson says, a man can't call himself peaceful if he's incapable of violence. If you're peaceful because you have no other choice, you're unable to fight, then you're just weak. The goal here is to be the warrior in the garden. Remember that phrase. You need to be the man who has the power to inflict violence and protect himself and his loved ones, but will only resort to that violence unless absolutely necessary. You might have had instances where you were bullied in school and you were reluctant to fight back because you were scared that the teacher would give you a detention and that your mother would tell you off for being violent. So you just chose to take the abuse. That is absolutely unacceptable and it does not make you the bigger person. You don't go home thinking after that that you are the bigger person. And certainly nobody who sees you take the abuse thinks of you as the bigger person. So picking up a martial art and specifically sparring will give you the confidence and get you used to the idea of a confrontation. And you'll become much more comfortable and secure when tensions do rise. I will give credit to my mom for this though, because she always gave me the blessing to fight back if I was being picked on. I was a very good kid in school. I did well academically and never caused problems, never really got detentions. But back in middle school, I was a pretty fat kid and bullies would use that. One day, one of the bullies came up to me on the playground and called me a fat pig and shoved me. So I grabbed that little motherfucker by his collar and I bitch slapped him and pushed him down into a puddle. And I felt fucking good standing up for myself. And then the teacher called us into the classroom and told us off. And I said, yep, my mom told me to defend myself. That kid then started being friendly and we ended up hanging out later on. So find a martial arts club in your area. Literally go on Google Maps right now and type in MMA gym, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, anything. And go to one of the trial classes. Usually they do them for free. Maybe if you want, bring a friend along as well, just in case you're uncomfortable going for the first time. That's why I found my club where it's kickboxing mixed with Muay Thai, and I've been going there for the past 2 years. Again, you do these things to gain power you can use for self-defense and for good. You're not doing this to become a bully. The fourth thing is you need to develop a strong mind. You see, most of us are zombie these days, just scrolling non-stop and switching tabs and task switching every 2 seconds, just short-circuiting our brains. And there's so much temptation out there right now. You have TikTok, you have Instagram, there's YouTube, there's VR porn, there's video games in 4K, 60 frames per second. You must resist these things and guard your attention span. So stop being a normie and get off TikTok, Instagram, OnlyFans, and have some respect for yourself. Because having an attention span is an absolute flex in today's world. If you're able to sit down and do some focused, productive work, you're going to be ahead of 95% of people these days, honestly, just by being able to slow down your mind and actually immerse yourself in the task and do it to a high standard. One of the best ways I found for doing that is meditating. I've been using this app called Medito. I'm not sponsored or anything. Medito, it's a free app and it's got so many courses that you can do on meditation and daily challenges. So check it out. Also reading and spending time in nature, just without any technology, full detox for a few hours to a day, and just thinking and reflecting on your goals. We're taught to pursue instant gratification these days, and a lot of content creators in the self-improvement space have received backlash for preaching habits that are too extreme, getting off social media completely and not scrolling. The truth is, yeah, you have to be extreme. I mean, look at your current mission. You're trying to overcome the lack of a father, and presumably you're trying to become an exceptional man that has access to the best lifestyle, the best resources, the best women, the best friends. Yeah, this is what it's going to take. And if you don't want it, then that's fair enough. But don't then come back and complain about a miserable existence. You need to wash out the emotional swings that you probably adopted by being around your mother too much and build a strong mind and be stoic in the face of life, because society will criticize you for being toxic and women will shit test you. The fifth thing is you need to compete. Our core masculine essence is to compete with other men. That's how we've always improved. It's another thing that your mother and modern conditioning have probably choked out of you, because it can be seen as bad. I mean, there's some sort of conflict and friction when you want to compete with someone else. And if there's a winner, then there must be a loser. But oh no, everyone's a winner for participating. Fucking ridiculous, man. You know as well as I do that only one guy can have that role, that position. Only one guy can date that girl that we really want to date. Who remembers the second fastest man in the world? A lot of guys might just cope and say, oh no, but I'm just competing with myself, being better than I was yesterday. Okay, yeah, fair enough. You should compare yourself to your past version, but you don't exist in this vacuum. You exist among other men, women, you exist in society, and we're all playing the game of life. We all want the lifestyle, the resources, the best way to live. So you can't isolate yourself unless you want to be a complete recluse. You can't really avoid competition. So stop running away from it. And it's also such a beautiful thing because we become better when we compete. If you see another man running faster or making more money, then that's going to raise your level as well. We feel alive when we compete as men, and it's very good for building bonds with other guys. Some of the guys that I respect the most are the ones that I spar with on a regular basis. We always compete, but then after the round's over, we have respect for each other. And my last tip to you is to find a brotherhood. We've become lonelier than ever as men, and this goes against our conditioning of always being in packs and tribes, and that's how we were for thousands of years, and that's how we used to hunt and live together. And it's just been marginalized in importance these days. It's not seen as something that's essential. If anything, it's seen as toxic of, the cliche of